Daylight, my MVVs, welcome. Oni of Ife is rumored to have been going through a whole lot of pressure recently, because of the fact that he's been preparing for his second full moon ritual with his wife, Oloris, Naomi. Okay. Now, for those of you who are just joining who don't understand what this is all about 2 years ago, Oloris Naomi left the palace of the Oni of Ife. She was very upset because of the things that, was happening to her at the time. Now, everybody was surprised, but later they found out that Naomi's leaving was not something that was planned. Like, it wasn't premeditated by her. She was spiritually forced out of the palace. They say, as a matter of fact, if God had not been with Oloris Naomi, she would have done worse than she did. But, when, people do not want you in a place, they make you do things that, will sound and look so reprehensible that they will use against you. Now, coming back, since Naomi left, it took Kabiyesi about 9 months before Kabiyesi went back for Oloris Naomi. And he actually started being very serious after he had married 6 wives, okay? And since he started going back to Oloris Naomi, he has done everything possible to try and get Naomi back into the palace. It is not happening. They have done everything. Each time Naomi is about to come back to the palace, there will be one level of confusion to the other. And they now saw everything, and they said the reason why that was happening was because Naomi cannot just walk back through into the palace after what she did. They say she committed an abomination by leaving Kabiyesi the way she did. That is not acceptable. So, in fact, it was something that was looking like an impossible task until Yanifa came in. Now, coming in, I'm not going to begin to sound like a broken record. There are so many things they are supposed to do, 13 rituals again, and another 3 full moon ritual. The full moon ritual, they did one last month, and this month, the month has come to an end. Basically, when people say full moon ritual, they are talking about a time where a new moon will come out. So they are preparing for a full moon ritual. Hence, the reason why Oni of Ife is not going out with his Oloris. Oloris are not following him out. He's had very important functions. Lately, you notice that he is not going out with his Oloris because he's trying to avoid anything that will bring them very close to him, even though they've had a lot of different issues in the palace. But the Yanifa said the reason why they are able to do so many things to Oni of Ife is because Oni allowed them too close to him. And if you notice, he's not been going out with them. And they said there's been so much cry, lamentation in the palace over the fact that Oni has been distancing himself from his Oloris. Now, we are all aware that Ile-Ife is the spiritual and traditional seat of the Yoruba people. Right now, they are doing a whole lot of work. A lot of things are happening. They said there are a lot of emotions and uncertainty happening in the palace right now because this time the air is heavy also, not with celebration, but with deep tension. Queen Naomi, of course, we all know that Queen Naomi left, and right now they are preparing for her full moon ritual, a sacred and deeply spiritual rite that marks another step in her highly anticipated reinstatement as the official and public, a companion of the Oni of Ife. In Yoruba tradition, marriage to the Oni is not merely a union between man and woman. It is a sacred covenant that binds, a woman to the very heart of the Yoruba cosmology. Sorry, please. When Queen Naomi left the palace and publicly announced her separation from the Oni via social media, it sent shockwave across the land. Elders, chiefs, and spiritual leaders deemed her public exit as an abomination, especially because such matters concerning the Oni, the Arole Oduduwa, are sacred and should be handled with utmost discretion. Her exit disrupted the spiritual balance of the palace and left an open wound in the traditional order. At least that is what the elders are saying. To return to the palace is not a simple walk back through the gate. It demands penance, spiritual cleansing, and divine approval. According to the palace priests and the Ifa custodians, 13 rituals must be performed before Queen Naomi can be publicly acknowledged again as wife to the Oni of Ife. These rituals are not symbolic they are real, time bound, and deeply spiritual act involving communion with ancestral spirit, appeasement of deities, and reaffirmation of covenantal bonds between the queen and the king and the gods of the land. Now, among the 13 rituals, 3 are considered major, and at the very core of this is the full moon ritual. This ritual, held only when the moon is at its fullest, signifies renewal, reconciliation, and spiritual unity. The first full moon ritual, held sacredly some months ago, was the beginning of a path back for Queen Naomi. That ritual involves sacred chant, ritual bathing, and offerings in the deep forest of, Ife. But this time they brought it into the palace because of course, Queen Naomi's own religion. Now, the second full moon ritual is just days away. It's said to be more intense, more revealing, and more binding than the first. The upcoming ritual is crucial as it will determine if the spirit of the ancestors and the gods of Ile-Ife have fully, if they have fully welcomed her back. They need to welcome her back the way she was welcomed into the palace before, she can be publicly seen with the Oni of Ife. And they said because of this ritual, Oni of Ife is doing everything within his power to ensure that it does not, nothing gets to hinder the progress of this ritual. That includes being too close to the Oloris, getting to be with them, So, and they said this is causing a whole lot of problems in the palace because he's not even ready. You see, lately he's been going from one place to the other without his Oloris. And to tell you the truth, the Oloris are complete right there in the palace. Even also, they said that a few days ago, the elders have said some of the Oloris will leave in 7 days. That is also still hanging. But the reason why Oni of Ife is not going out with his Oloris, why he is so distant, as they are saying, the Oni has become distant, withdrawn, and contemplative. He has stopped attending formal palace gatherings, as is rarely seen walking the palace grounds with any of his other wives. It is a silence that speaks louder than words. Just close to the throne, say he is preparing himself spiritually and emotionally for Queen Naomi's full return. The atmosphere is thick with tension. The wives, though outwardly respectful, are devastated. Some fear their influence will be diminished, while others worry that Queen Naomi's presence might overshadow the delicate balance of power and attention they have, become used to. The Oni's focus, long divided among his wife, appeared to be recentering around Queen Naomi, and for now, he has closed the emotional door on others. Culturally, this development is, it's not something that is permissible, but he is king. He chooses to do whatever he wants to do. You cannot tell him what to do, And when it comes to the Oni of Ife, he is unpredictable. You cannot tell him what to do. One thing he has shown the entire world is that he cares about Olori Naomi so much. Naomi means so much to him, and so he is ready to give anything up for Naomi. For the people of Ile-Ife and Yoruba land, this is more than a love story. It is about destiny, sacrifice, tradition, and the mysterious ways of faith. The ritual, particularly the full moon rites, are not made drama. They are a reminder that in Yoruba cosmology, nothing is truly over until the spirit says so. Even though they have fought, the palace drums are silent for now, but their silence is filled with meaning. As the second full moon draws near, eyes will turn to the heavens, to the moonlight that bathed the ancient city in silver. In that glow, Queen Naomi will stand again before the spirit, before the gods, and before the Oni to reclaim her place in the palace. I do know that a lot of people will say she is a spirit, she is what do you call a prophet. If I hear him, she's a prophetess and all of that. She agreed to marry the Oni of Ife in the first place. When you agree to marry a man like that, you are, connected to that man. And that is one thing we need to know. And the fact that Queen Naomi is married to the Oni of Ife, it doesn't stop her from, practicing her own religion and being a prophetess that she's good at. She is love. Love can go anywhere, And this is what is going on in the palace. And they say the Oloris are just all over the place. It says jealousy won't finish them over what is going on. Oni of Ife is not ready to risk anything. He wants to just complete Queen Naomi's full moon ritual before all this drama continues. And As we all know, everybody's telling Queen Naomi to just focus and forget about the tantrums and everything that's coming from other Oloris, that what she needs to do is to focus and gain her place back. This is what we are hearing. If the information is true, I'm going to bring you more update. Do not forget, these are all alleged, rumored, unverified information making the rounds on social media and should not be seen as fact.